this.
Minions of the Zoo. In space. Tonight's episode, The Crippled Engine.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo. I'm your zookeeper for the night, T. Alexander, here with traveling exhibit Mitch Nemo. Yo, Mitch.
Yo ho!
And we have a star-studded night prepared for you. We're going to be blasting shit out of the sky.
Oh,
Get
yes.
ready for that. Let me pull down this here. All right, I can hear myself, so that's good.
You know, we've got a Friday the 13th news today.
We did?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Apparently
right.
They've chosen, after getting rid of Brian Fuller, they've chosen a new showrunner for the Crystal Lake prequel series.
Okay. Who's the new showrunner?
His name is Brad Caleb Kane.
All right, I'm going to hop into this red alert so I can get my...
Right on. I'm good. Let's go. But Brad Caleb Kane has a pretty decent history in the Hollywood. I don't know much about it or anything like that, and I am hoping that he's not using the wrong checklist as he makes the show.
Okay.
And just because I'm a big fan of Womp Stomp Films, and I intend to promote success, I tagged both Kane and Womp Stomp Films in a post on Twitter, hoping that Womp Stomp Films would be contacted to work on this.
I mean...
Because that would be awesome.
It would be.
I mean, not even a full creative capacity or anything like that. But it's one of the things Vince apparently wants to do. He wants to work on an official Friday the 13th project in any capacity. You know, he's not saying he needs to be showrunner. Yeah, but even if he's just, building sets, the man is a resource for Friday the 13th knowledge.
Yes.
In any capacity, he would be handy to have on your show.
Someone that you can tap just in case.
Yeah. Someone who can explain to the producers why you can't have Leatherface show up in episode 3. Because that's not how it works.
Yeah. I mean, but Hollywood will do Hollywood no matter what Hollywood decides to do.
Oh, that's true.
So in the end, you could hope it with Hollywood. And that's the sad part.
Oh, it really is. But I would love it if...
Congratulations.
I would absolutely love that. It would boost my confidence in the show Crystal Lake by orders of magnitude to find out that Vincent DeSanti is involved.
Yes. Even if it is just a consultant role.
Yeah. That would be awesome, But, the news just broke about Kane today. Who knows? Maybe, like I said, I tagged both him and Womp Stomp Films. Here's hoping that Kane saw my post, or he's independently seeing it. Never had one.
Again, Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. mean, I'm not saying that if it does happen that it's because I wrote a Twitter post. No, not at all. I'm saying that it would be awesome. You know, it would be cool if that were the case, but that's not going to be the case. You know. Wow, I beamed in standing in a place way far away from. Oh, that's why. Okay.
What? Oh.
It beamed me in probably over a gap in the glass that we're standing on.
Ah. All right, I'm gonna hop in another TFO.
Right on.
And do a random. Oh, let me go back.
What? Okay.
And.
But yeah, well, I don't know. How big of a Friday the 13th fan are you?
I'm a fairly big fan. I'm not as deep into the lore as you are. You know, you grew up with Friday the 13th.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you had if you were doing a prequel for that show, where would you take it?
If I had to do a prequel for Friday the 13th, I would do what led up to the first set of murders. I would do the incident of Crystal Lake, like with Jason dying, with the camp counselors fucking up and not paying attention, and then Pamela hearing about it and all the shit she's going through. Like her
the Herc are about to overrun this planet, and time is a factor.
Her getting all the information she needs, and like her, you know, going through various times of killing the camp counselors to keep them from opening up Crystal Lake. And when they finally do again, she decides, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing it. Nobody fucking did it to my boy, gonna live. Or maybe she doesn't get them all, and the one survivor decides to reopen it.
Oh, who knows? Maybe.
But that's what I would do.
See, I would do something similar. My story would revolve around Jason's death, or Jason's drowning, presumed drowning.
Okay.
Because I would still keep it mysterious. Did he drown or did he not? We don't know. But for the sake of the story, as far as Pamela and her husband are concerned, yes, he did. And I wouldn't give them any clues that he didn't. As far as the viewers might pick up a thing here, but I think my portrayal of that family would be different too, because everyone wants Jason to be raised in a horrible household with an abusive, alcoholic, coal mining wizard father.
Yeah.
If you look at all the beta canon,
I would do that. I would give him, like you said, I would give him a loving family.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, again, and I would also use your, remember you said it was a curse, and how we came up with the notion that, you know, it made it protected the land, but the curse, she unknowingly activated a ritual on that site.
Well, yeah, she did. She did the chimpanzees pounding on typewriters until they eventually write Shakespeare. Yeah. But she never made it to the Shakespeare part.
Yeah, she unknowingly activated a ritual that she didn't know she was activating.
Right. So we're looking at, less than half of a curse. And in my head, Jason did drown. But Pamela activated half of a curse, so his body is preserved, but not coming back to life yet.
Yes.
So he's down at the bottom of the lake, yes, but he's preserved. Then,
and her death is what activates, but it also traps him in that curse.
Well, yeah, her death is what finally reanimates him. But yeah, like you said, that it also he's trapped in that curse because, as the person who initiated the curse, she's the only one who can essentially turn it off.
Yeah. But even if she could, she didn't know she activated it, and he doesn't know how to work
it. Because she doesn't know there's a curse.
Yes.
It's just that when she came back a year after he had drowned and started killing and all of that stuff, and that it starts something. Well, she killed 2 people, as far as I
Well
know,
done.
the first year.
The Jem'Hadar will help.
Or the year after. I mean, she did sabotage and stuff, and some other people died before that. But it was the very next year at the summer camp after he drowned, where everyone's singing Kumbaya, and the 2 counselors sneak away to make fuck. What the hell? Jesus, there we go. That's when
Satellite is back online. We'll launch tractor
that's when the words escape me. That's when she killed the first 2, but she could have handled things prior to that too that we don't know about, and we could
Explore that.
you know, yeah, we can illuminate that with this series. And like I said, that won't even be the first episode though, because I would say the first episode, if it's an hour-long show, we have to establish that Jason is raised in a very loving family. You know, his father comes home from work every day, and Jason's a mongoloid. You know, he's a deformed kid. He's a hydrocephalic is what the technical term would be. And as a result, he doesn't speak. But there's really no evidence that his mind is there. I think his mind probably is there, and he's actually smart. But you know, he can vocalize. Yes, he can, you know, or stuff like that. But he doesn't really speak in language.
Yes.
Or he doesn't communicate in language. And you know, the game that he plays with his father every day. So Jason hides, and his father pretends like he doesn't know where Jason is. Where's Jason? Where's Jason? And Jason pops up out of somewhere, and Elias Voorhees is always just like, "There's my boy." You know, just like how
ships are ready.
Pamela refers to Jason as my special boy. So she's got like her own little catchphrase, if you will, that applies to Jason. Elias does the same thing with "There's my boy." There's my boy. You know, and that kind of becomes
Head to escape route beta.
that we use that to demonstrate, you know, show don't tell,
Ships spotted at escape route
that we've
Gamma.
got
Get
a
over
very
there.
loving family here. And you know, they're doing all right. They don't live in a shack, you know, or any of that shit.
Yeah.
It's very Ward and June Cleaver. You know, it's a very Leave It to Beaver life. But then when Jason dies, or when Jason apparently drowns, shit starts to go downhill for Pamela and Elias. Elias can deal with it because he's a yeah, he has to keep what's left of his family running, and that's just him and Pamela. So he's going to do whatever he has to do to make sure that they can continue to survive. Whereas Pamela, and I hate to put it in terms of man and woman, but
I mean,
there
but I
is
can see her whole
there,
world being Jason, like taking care
Yeah.
of him. So she's
Yeah, 'cause-
kind of left without nothing. She's lost without him.
yeah, I mean, she has nothing to do all day but think about. Well, I mean, yeah, she's got her usual housework and whatnot, but you think the loss is going to disappear because she has to fold some fucking sheets? Hell no.
I mean, I would assume it would be even worse. You could even show that, like, he helps her with the chores, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely, because she's very despondent. She's not getting all the things done she used to. And again, he has to.
Oh, no,
to
I'm
step
talking
up
about
and-
Jason. Like, their
sure.
relationship, like, that's why, you know, doing the little stuff around the house just makes it work because, again, that's something they did together.
Ships spotted
Yeah.
at escape route
Yeah,
Gamma. Get over
yeah,
there.
she's basically trapped in an environment where she sees is Jason,
Yeah.
and we get to experience her initially slow descent into madness, but that descent is going to escalate and become more pronounced over time. But before she goes full on homicide, her and Eli just aren't going to work anymore, and that's a common thing. A marriage rarely survives the death of a child. And we're going to be in that kind of a boat. It's going to be that kind of a situation. We're going to tell a real story about some real family drama. And I figure we can cover 1 or 2 episodes like that. because we established a great family life. We have the tragic incident, and then and I forgot the rest of my words again. And then we examine the descent into madness and the divorce. And Eli just goes off. He disappears, essentially. Not because he doesn't love Pamela or doesn't love Jason, but because his life here, because of the divorce, his life here is over. And there's no point in him staying here. He can go start over. So he does. But Pamela has descended into madness. And she starts plotting. And, we're not even a year away yet. A year away from Jason drowning yet. Mm-hmm. So we'll pick back up with Pamela as we watch her insanities escalate and grow. And we get to watch as she goes and starts sabotaging the camp. Now, with some of the sabotage in which she engages, there's going to be some deaths probably. Yeah. She hasn't. She's done sabotage, but she hasn't graduated to full murder. Yeah. One of the things she does is she sabotages. People do get poisoned and they can die. It's not.
I would limit her targets aren't the kids. She wouldn't attack the children there. She would avoid targeting.
No, not intentionally.
Yes.
But she does things. She doesn't. When she's poisoning the well that feeds the water to the camp, she's not doing it to kill anyone. She's doing it to make people sick.
Yes.
So that the camp gets a bad reputation.
You could have it start off with that thing that could be considered pranks.
Yeah,
not
someone.
necessarily big stuff.
Well, yeah, someone might look around and go, "Damn kids."
Yeah.
Crazy Ralph, for example. Crazy Ralph might be one of the people who's like, "Damn kids." When something goes wrong at the camp.
Yes.
Various break-ins.
Give it an
graffiti. Yeah. And meanwhile, she's still the cook. She's still the cook at the camp. Mm-hmm. Because the thing about people with this kind of insanity, they hide it.
Yes.
And she's doing her damnedest to do just that.
So what I'm thinking is there was this comic, this manga that I was reading a while back. So these group of kids bullied this boy so bad he committed suicide, and his mother went mad and started plotting her revenge. She went and killed them. She gave them all ironic deaths. And if you can have that, there was a particular counselor there when she finally does snap, and she just goes full on murder. At least in our little prequel. She plots their deaths in a certain manner.
Well,
she tried to get it ironic.
No, I wouldn't do anything like that because I think that would diminish the drama of what's really going on. If you know what I mean. Because she's not at that point yet. She's going to be doing other things. What's the kind of thing they do at a summer camp in 1959?
Archery? I don't know.
Yeah, but how do you sabotage archery in a way that it accidentally...
You could saw the bowstring to make it snap back.
That might hurt someone. I don't think it's going to end up in someone being killed.
Bowstrings are... You can kill some, and for bowstring snaps and slaps in the back of the head, because of the tautness, it can fuck you up.
Well, yeah, but it may not kill you.
It'll leave a deep ass gash.
Yeah, I mean, we can have kids getting wounded, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, if we're not making them sick, they're getting wounded.
Yes.
But we have to figure out what that sabotage is going to look like. Is what I'm getting at. That's all we have to figure out. But we figure out what the sabotage is.
Washing the sheets and poison ivy. make the kids get
Yeah.
rashes.
Yeah, shit like that. It escalates that way until we get to 1959, where she starts committing murder, straight up murder.
Let me read these real quick. James Colley. Nah, I'd start with a ghost story about Jason. In the current day, however, there is an out of bounds area that was the old Camp Crystal Lake. Yes, Jason crosses the barrier to the new Camp Crystal Lake. Because stupid kids disturb the old campgrounds, be it drinking, smoking, or other debauchery, because Jason and Crystal Lake are one, showing a crystal that holds Jason's spirit or being. That's an interesting premise.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of relaunching Crystal Lake, but in a different location on the same lake, as if that's gonna deter Jason.
I mean,
but no one's gonna know about that.
I mean, what if he's not bound to Crystal Lake the camp, but Crystal Lake the area?
Well, that's just it. I think he is bound to that area, the lake and the land. He's bound to a territory.
Yeah, so them moving the camp to be Crystal Lake really wasn't going to do anything. It's still going to activate his curse.
Right, but if you look at the movies, 1, 2, and 3,
pick another random,
and then 4 works for me. The first movie takes place at Camp Crystal Lake. The second movie takes place in the same area, but it's at the Packanack Lodge.
Okay.
Where they were training camp counselors for a different camp, if I'm not mistaken. But they crossed into Jason's territory, and that roused him. The third movie takes place at the Higgins property called Higgins Haven. That's the Higgins cabin where all that shit took place. Cabin, barn, and a little swampy bit of water that led to the lake. Then in the fourth movie, it takes place basically in the neighborhood where the Jarvises live.
Ah, okay. All right.
So he's not restricted to Camp Crystal Lake. He is
come on
in
James.
a territory, though.
Orbital mining station.
Yeah, absolutely, James. Bring it.
James said before, one of the screens is replaced with piano wire. That shit'll fuck you up.
But we have to guarantee that it breaks too.
I mean, if you cut it in the right way, like the reason why bowstrings are designed in a way, so when they pull on, the force of the pull about that arrow, it has to be tight. And if it breaks, if the wire breaks and not the bow, it could snap back.
Drop the facility shields.
Oh yeah, I understand that, but there's no way. We want to make it seem as realistic as possible because we want the movie to make sense.
Sure.
And that's part of the slasher thing, is that we're lying.
Oh, we're in Rotten's Discord.
Yeah, we're in Rotten's Discord. Because it's a slasher subgenre, lying too heavily on things that just happen to work out our way.
Okay.
So we have to have some reliable things, and the bowstring piano wire combo thing I don't think it's reliable.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I might be wrong. I don't know, because I've never tried to do that.
How about again? It's just the one she set up, but it didn't pan out like she planned it to, and that's when she moves on to something else. Like, yeah, I'm gonna use the bowstring because I know that this one counselor that I particularly think did it uses that bow.
I got one for you. Instead of that business with a bowstring, while someone is target shooting at the archery range, Pamela is hidden away somewhere taking shots as well. She's not shooting at anyone, but she wants it to look like there were close calls. No, she just wants it to look like there were close calls, because that's a good way to sabotage the camp and to scare the hell out of people. But as it turns out, we have an accident. That could be her first real kill. That's not, intended to be murder, but
It happens. It just so happens.
yeah, she happens to kill someone. And
Have you ever seen the movie Death Promise?
No.
Old 70s movie, but the premise I bring up is like one of the kills they had was someone was put behind an archery target, and an arrow was fired through them. So
Yeah, I thought of that.
Yeah.
I actually thought of that, but I'm like, okay, no, for a fully operational camp, you're not going to have someone hidden that well behind an archery target,
True. Yeah, more than likely, they'll probably have the old school setup of targets on the tripod, and not an actual. Yeah.
Why is this calico person constantly trying to fuck my ass?
I don't know.
I think they're rigged to auto fire and they're just following.
Hold on, James. I'll bring you because I don't think he'll have this on his Discord.
Really?
I don't. He should. Nope, James don't. Sending it to you. Invite people. Probably get my ass killed now.
Maybe.
Check the our group chat, and it should be in there. I could have swore I sent you this one.
Damn it, now I'm all discombobulated.
There he is. He's in. All right.
That's not the part I'm discombobulated with. I'm in the game.
Yeah. Hold on. He's online. Why is he not coming in? Old man being old man again.
Maybe.
Oh well. If you're listening, James, you can just hop into the Discord. Right in Discord. We're sitting in there.
Yep. In the Dat Gaming voice chat.
Yep. Goddamn anti-ship missiles.
Gamma 1 is being targeted by 2 more missiles. Another missile is inbound on Gamma.
The fuck? I'm on its ass. How is it not doing damage?
I got nothing. I can't imagine why James couldn't get in. There we go.
Beta corridor is another inbound missile. Take it down.
Yo, old man.
Oh, looks like this is... asshole Galaxy Class gonna try to start following me again. James, are you there?
If you're speaking, we can't hear you, old man.
Is there a caller? Hi. Sorry.
Missile inbound on Alpha corridor.
It's an old Phil Donahue thing.
God rest his soul.
Or whomever.
Yeah, whoever. God damn it, where are all these mother... hate this TFO.
Yeah, once you got your shit sorted, and know what you want to do, it's all right. But it feels like it's a lot of busy work.
Yeah, because it has 2 major breaks in it.
Yeah. Maybe.
All right. A good idea for what TFO should be. TFO should play on previous episodes, like how you have that one TFO where you have to take out the
Destroy the missile.
The
Conqueror.
Borg construct thingy.
No, Conqueror. You have to take out Conqueror.
Oh, right.
And it plays sort of like the mission, but it's not. It gives you the feel like you're not the commander in that fleet, that fight, but you're just some random schmuck. You know.
Schmuck fits. You there this time, James?
Missile lock on.
Dang, my whole attack is down to 32%. I need you to say something. Oh God, I'm going down. Oh, no, I'm fine.
I know. I just did a swoop in.
Well, back to what we were saying before, you know, James had to hop on.
Oh, where was I? But yeah, we see Pamela start sabotaging and escalate to the accidental killing and then finally to murder. And we follow her descent. That's going to take us, 3 or 4 episodes into the story.
Clear the zone of all remaining Klingon vessels.
And then we can start after that.
We're reading Klingon transport vessels leaving.
We can do the years passing
Disable them.
trope,
Yes.
if you know what I mean.
Starfleet Command.
All the newspaper things, poison water at Camp
We're reading
Crystal
Klingon
Lake,
transport from Starfleet Command. believes the
arrows
occupants could have value.
shot at children at Camp Crystal Lake.
You know,
Blah blah blah. Basically, Camp Crystal Lake am dangerous.
poison ivy outbreak. You know,
Yeah. All that kind of fun stuff, and then, we see all those head newspaper clippings, and then
Disable and capture the Klingon transports.
then we
Klingon
reach the
transport
second
disabled.
half of the show
Tractor it back to our starting area.
where it's
Klingon transport disabled. Tractor it back to our starting area.
it's essentially where Jason is now coming back physically. I mean, he was preserved before, but now he's up and running, as it were. Because the final thing that activated him being up and running was Pamela getting beheaded
Disabled. Tractor it back
and
to our starting
her blood hitting the lake.
yes.
At least, I don't know if we want to make that, but that's the final straw that gets him up. Curse is still incomplete, though.
So he's not
Because-
fully back. He's just there.
No, he is fully back.
No, I'm talking about alive.
Oh yeah, he's at this point if he gets killed, he will keep coming back. That's where we're at. And as Vin DeSantis said, he's an undead red.
Disabled.
So as he does his thing, he will just get killed and keep coming back. And you can defeat him for a little bit, but he will keep coming back. Is the point. And we get to follow, while maintaining fealty to what we saw in, or we don't even have to go all the way up to, help me out here. We don't have to go all the way up to I want to say Star Trek 3. Friday the 13th Part 3. We don't even have to go very 2. Because in Part 2, there's a 5-year gap between when between the end of Part 1 and I can't remember if the 5-year gap is until Jason kills Alice, or if the 5-year gap is between Jason killing Alice and everyone showing up to Packanack Lodge for counselor training in part 2. But my point is, we can watch how Jason develops between parts 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And maybe the climax there is that he kills Alice. That's the climax of the first season of our Crystal Lake prequel series.
Okay.
That's all the prequel stuff, and then if we get picked up for another season, we can tell another side of the stories that take place after that. Because we see certain things in parts 2, 3, and 4, but do we see everything that happened?
No.
Is there a way to connect those films to other murders that we now get to watch because of the streaming show?
Okay.
Can we connect them in that way? It's still Higgins Haven, but Jason is. Oh no, I don't think that one Jason would necessarily be doing a bunch of hack and slash from part 3 because.
All vessels, disable that dreadnought. We need to take the captain alive.
Whatever. But
Jason, they need to have Jason get creative with his kills again.
Well, define creative. I'm fine with creative as long as it makes sense in context.
As long as it's not stupid.
Oh, I mean, typically using like the stuff that's already around the camp.
Yeah. Well, see, like one thing I would like to see. This is something I wrote for another thing, for a vampire story. But I would like to see Jason dealing with someone, and he breaks a limb off a tree, and he picks them up and rams them onto the remains of the branch that's still connected to the tree. Kills them that way.
So kind of going fuller than what Freddy versus Jason did, because they had it to where he whacked the kid into the tree. I want to say it was, and I think it was the tree that caused him to have the bleeding.
Yeah. Well, see that I wouldn't overpower Jason at this point either. What?
Oh, I forgot to raise the squat bar.
But I wouldn't have Jason be overpowered that much yet either. Mm-hmm. Because I think as Jason progresses and becomes more and more undead, he does die and come back repeatedly. I think it's
that whole thing where he actually has to use both arms to fucking really get a lift.
Because at this point he's still young. He's still not like child young, but maybe let's see,
mid-20s.
Died in 1958. He was preserved until 1980, and then comes back, and now it's 1985. And I think he was 11 years old when he died. Or was that Michael Myers? I don't remember how old who was. But assuming he's in his late teens, early 20s during our prequel.
Okay.
That's what kind of age he is, even though he's technically older because, I mean, he was born in 1948 or 1949, I think. Mm-hmm. Somewhere. He's actually that old. He died for a while and was preserved and then came back. Yeah, so his physical age would probably be, in the point of this prequel series we're talking about, would probably be right around 20.
Yeah. Early 20s, late teens.
Yeah, late teens, early 20s. Let's see. Can James talk now? If he takes himself off mute, he can. I hope. We'll see.
Oh man, unmute yourself.
So yeah, Jason, we get to see another side of or the other side of the story where Jason is doing things that we don't see on screen in the other movies, but we still maintain the canon of the other movies. because that's going to help to keep the audience on your side as a well, I say filmmaker, but no one does film anymore, not really.
Shit, you can have him building a shrine to his mother.
Well, yeah, we can see that stuff happen. You know, and you know, we don't need to have any big psycho reveals about, you know, he builds a shrine to his mother and then he says a prayer and the gods show up. We don't need any of that kind of bullshit. We do, however, need Jason seeing his mother's spirit.
Yes. I like
And
the
her-
lady they
and
got
her-
from the lady they got from was it Jason Rising? Yeah.
Yeah,
What-
I think so.
I like the lady they got for that one. I think they should do that one. If they're going to do that one, they should bring her back.
Maybe.
Man. But continue, my friend. I'm listening.
Sweep this room quickly and you'll catch the Borg off guard.
No, I'm just saying, we get to see the other side of things that happen in those movies. You know, we don't see everything that happens. This is our chance to see what happens when we're not looking,
The Borg are reacting.
if you know what I
You're
mean.
awakening reinforcements.
Well, I made a bad choice there.
But you're also not trying to make him a completely sympathetic character either.
No, there is some sympathy involved because,
Well, that's why I said not a completely sympathetic character.
no, I mean, Jason has to be a monster, but he's made a
Yes.
monster because of Pamela, which makes Pamela a monster.
Oh yeah.
And if anything, Pamela's the more sympathetic because her whole life is
Take care of
is
her.
essentially ended. Her whole life is ended, and in a kind of a shitty way. Between the death of her son, the loss of her husband, because of the divorce and all that. It's a the reason I want them to have an idyllic life before everything goes to hell is because that's how you build up to tragedy.
The greater the greater the rise, the harder the fall.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you have... Imagine if Jason was raised in an abusive, alcoholic kind of a home. They just live in a shack. You know, they're always out of money. There's drug addict, fucking...
Yeah, why would she be
all that weird
obsessed with
shit. No. It gets better than that. Why would anyone be angry about dying? What Jason's death would be a relief.
It
Not
would
just,
ease her
not just
burden.
for him. Well, yeah, it would ease her burden, but it would ease Jason's burden as well. Because now he's no longer getting the shit kicked out of him by his abusive alcoholic father, blah blah blah. That's why I
Ignored by
don't.
his mother.
Yeah, there's if their life is shit before people start dying, what's the source of the rage?
Yeah.
Is it just being abused? Because that's not enough. You gotta fall from something.
And collective core is down.
You gotta have that fall from grace. That
We are detecting
that
an
legitimizes the rage. Because you know Pamela's enraged. She's
Yes.
enraged that her son was killed, and
But like you said,
and the circumstances under which she was killed. So is Eli, but like we said, Eli has to cope so that both of them can survive.
Mhm.
And even after the divorce, I mean, he's still paying her alimony. Fuck it.
I mean, he's essentially taking care of her.
Yes. Even though she keeps going back to work as the cook at Crystal Lake, at Camp Crystal Lake. And probably does some other work too. But once she gets home and she's alone, that's where that's when the red mist descends and she gets encompassed by the madness and the rage. And really the curse of Crystal Lake, as it turns out, is that Jason is cursed because of Pamela.
Her madness and her rage.
Yes. Madness and her rage are ultimately what cursed Jason.
Mhm.
And you know, it's a tragic tale. It does, and yes, we might sympathize, but they're still monsters. We can have
Well, having like the
go on.
I say having like the character who is abused as a child and everything works better for like an anti-hero or.
But we're not trying to make him a hero.
Right.
I say sometimes you can have it for someone who's a psycho, but for like the Jason story, it doesn't make as much sense.
Right. But to fall from that kind of grace, I mean, even when he comes back, he can't go home again. I mean, if he wouldn't know the way, he's that, hydrocephalic. And he's got, he does have some mental impairments, but he's not an idiot.
I like the idea that, again, it shows, like, if we show why she let them go, know her son is, hydrocephalic and he's like that, I would like to know, I hope we could, if we did have this hypothetical series, like why she trusted them. Maybe it was somebody in particular she trusted. Oh, I'll take care of him and I'll watch out for him and he'll be fine. Come on, let the kid be a kid for once.
If anything, like you're gonna do that, you have it be the owner.
Steve Christie's parents.
Yeah, like basically
Christie was the guy reopening the camp in the first movie.
Yeah. Well, no, I was gonna say of like the whole thing of
the initial
like initial of why she had it. Of like basically her boss being like, "Hey, you've been doing this. Why don't you bring the kiddo over here? It'll be a great time. You can still make money. You get to see your kid. He'll get to have fun, make some friends."
Yeah.
And then tragedy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The other kids in the camp, they're not mean to him.
Yeah.
The other kids are fine. It's just that the two counselors got horny.
The time has come.
Well, there were a couple kids that were being dicks to him because they did chase him down the pier.
That's in the remake.
You could always assume that roughhousing.
Yeah. Hell, if anything, you could have it be it's like they were playing a game.
Yeah. But I think we only really see that in the 2009 remake, which is not part of the same canon.
Again, we could just say that they were roughhousing, boys being boys.
I mean, hell, like I said, they were playing a game. They were playing tag, and Jason was trying to run away. He got cornered and flipped into went down the pier, fell, couldn't swim. They don't know how to freaking stick one, and the two freaking counselors are horny. So she's not. So Pamela's not mad at the kids. They were playing a game.
Shit,
and they
have that the kids ran to look for the counselors on duty and they couldn't find them.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good angle, actually.
Because then it brings the whole thing of Pamela's not pissed at freaking any of the kids. It's always the people in these positions. The owner who hired these counselors, the camp counselors for being horny, not being able to control them goddamn.
If she's working at the camp, you could always have the kids knew that was his mom and they ran to her. Maybe she could do something because we can't find, Billy and Susie, who are the counselors.
And then they just can't find his body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, he was washed away and he did die.
Yeah. Or maybe have that the lake is murky and dark and, the undertows would get people.
Yeah. Well,
for something like that, you actually have to have it connected to a river or some source of other water.
Well, right.
Because if it's just a single thing on its own, it's going to be less likely.
Right, the Camp Crystal Lake, if you look at Part 8, it is connected to the ocean.
So you can always say that it's connected underneath the lake. Because there are literally rivers underneath bodies of water.
Yes.
Honestly, in that whole thing, instead of saying just that, underwater caverns, because those are where shit gets weird.
That works even better.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the reason we haven't been able to find some divers who go missing, because they go exploring the underwater caverns and they can never be found.
Yeah, in the end, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you went exploring, the end.
Yep. You could have that, and that would be interesting, Again, the kids ran to find the counselor because they can't swim, and
right.
maybe it was swimming day, and they were going to learn how to swim that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities there.
Oh yeah, there's the whole thing of they didn't realize that there were a life preserver nearby. They could have tried to toss to them or something like that. Because again, they're what 8 to 10 years old, so they're not going to know everything. And as soon as it happens, they're immediately into panic mode.
Right. They're going to stand there. What do we do? What do we do?
Like, go get his mom. Find Billy and Susie. Go get his mom.
Act. When they finally act, it's an incomplete act because they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they can't find the counselor, so they go Mrs. Vork. And that's where all the tragedy really starts. And we get to watch family, just running from the kitchen. Never mind taking off the apron. Fuck it, I'm gonna go find my kid.
Oh yeah, I was just saying something like that.
It gets even better if she's the one, that found out. They were fucking wild while they should have been watching my kid.
Well, yeah, she's gonna be the one that finds the counselors.
Yeah, because I was saying that whole situation, you have it be like 2 kids, like it'd be like 3 kids total with Jason. So one staying there trying, be there for Jason and that whole thing, and then the other 2, like one goes for his mother, the other goes for the counselors because
Billy, Susie,
no.
Billy, Susie, and Tammy, the 3 kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Billy's trying to save Jason. Tammy, go find the counselors. Susie and I will try to save Jason. Okay, we can't save Jason. Okay, then Susie, go find Mrs. Voorhees. And then because it would escalate that way.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot defeat me.
It wouldn't be 0 to go find Mrs. Voorhees. First they're trying to save the kid, then Tammy, go find the counselors. What? No, it's been too long. Susie, go find Mrs. Voorhees. Why won't it let me respawn?
I don't know. It won't let me respawn either.
Fucking game. But in that way we get background that fits the story we already know without you don't have to reveal too much other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're revealing that the home life was idyllic. But that's
well,
fine.
it follows down that whole road of where you see those things happen, where because of that loss, it causes the separation, causes the spiral of out of control, and the anger and resentment builds.
Right. It's a starting point that lets us take an actual journey.
Ooh, how about all right? So we have that. She's trying to save her kid. The counselors come sauntering up. You can clearly tell what they've been doing. She flips out on those 2. Fuck, where are you guys at?
Well, yeah, where were you? Who was watching him? Why weren't you there? Asking all the questions. Not quite at the what the fuck point yet, because there's still a chance that Jason's alive. We have to keep looking. And more people start showing up. Other campers, other counselors, No, by the time the police get there, though, it's like, we ain't gonna find this kid. And that's when she blows her first fuse.
Yeah.
But it's not a rage fuse. It's a sadness over the loss of her son fuse.
Mm-hmm.
And not being able to bury a body.
Yeah, and by then those two counselors were taken away by other people to remove them from the situation, because this is serious.
We don't get told what happened there, but we get like the police doing interviews, because again it is a technically a murder or a crime scene, and they're being interviewed and they go, so where were you 2 at? Separately. They're not being interviewed together.
Because they're not going to say to Pamela, "Oh, we were behind the barn making some fuck." They're not going to tell Pamela that. They're not going to tell anyone that.
Yeah.
Their concern is going to be with covering their asses, and then when the truth comes out and Pamela works it out, she's going to go downhill. You
could even have that. She still has to work. Even though the guy tells like take time out, she's like, no, I'm gonna work. And she's over there like, wait a minute, X, Y, and Z was supposed to do those 2 tasks. I was supposed to do this, But they were supposed to be this place. Where the fuck
You
were
know,
they?
play it. Here's how I would play it. Remember how the first movie starts
Yes.
with the two kids? They separate off and they go make fuck,
Mm-hmm.
and they get killed.
Mm-hmm.
That's them, because that's a year after. And Pamela finds out the secret, and they lied to those two. They lied to everyone,
Okay.
so no one else knows. But Pamela works it out, and when she finds them making fuck again, it's too much for her, and that's when the accidental killing stuff becomes premeditated.
Like again, in the beginning, she would just just doing what can be considered pranks, or maybe.
Yeah, because think of it this way, man. They're not going to tell anyone what happened, because if anyone finds out, they're never going to be able to do their camp counseling shtick again.
Yes.
And they're probably going to face criminal charges. They're
Yes.
going to lie and cover it up for each other.
Yes, because they would be criminally negligent.
Right.
Mhm.
But it's a story that Pamela is able to unravel, because like we said, she works at the camp too. Felt something on my lip.
And I like the idea that again, she's sitting there working, and she realizes, holy shit, no, those tasks, they weren't supposed to be doing those tasks. So where the fuck were they? Why weren't
Right.
they there?
Right. I mean, she works it out somehow.
Yeah.
And
I mean, for something like that, you can have it as simple as like, oh, they said they were doing this, but those things were still a strew or a mess. While
right, it could have
everything was-
something to do with her being the cook, and she's in a position to know that they're lying, and she, no one else is clearly no one's doing anything about it, so she's going to handle.
Yeah, she takes matters into her own hands.
Right, and one of the reasons she doesn't narc them out is because she wants them there. She wants them at the camp that next summer.
Oh, you can even have it that she's all smiles.
Yeah, she's all smiles for well, she doesn't figure it out right away, obviously. I mean, she still needs time to sabotage the camp and cause the accidental harm and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And by the so it's let's say it's mid-July. Well, no, it was June 13th, I believe, when Jason drowned, or was that? Anyway, we'll call it mid-season in the summer.
Okay. Camp isn't fully open yet, and they're just doing like pre-stop.
Right, but by November or December, Pamela figures it out.
Okay.
And she's got it figured out, and she knows those two kids lied. And because it's the off season, she goes up to the camp, and she finds proof that those two lied. Whatever that proof is, condoms left over, underwear with her name in it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She finds
picking
proof.
another TFO.
Right on.
Hell,
But
it
no.
could be as simple as that they live close enough to the camp that they've been sneaking away to the camp to pull the hanky-panky, and she catches them in the act in the off-season.
Maybe.
Ooh, that's an even better one.
And even then, it might be an act of transference. But point being, at some point, she decides she wants those kids there the next summer so she can kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knows they're going to wander off to do the hunt.
The horizontal hustle.
Yes. She knows they're going to be bumping uglies.
Making a beast with two backs.
She knows he's going to be feeding her cat. So those are the two that she winds up killing in the scene in the original film. Mm-hmm. Film it so it looks exactly the same. Yeah, I know we can't make the actors look exactly the same. So what? But film it so it's film
can
it
at least
as identical as possible to that.
Or that you could always do the thing where it's like they might not be the exact same actors but they were before, but you're at least setting it in the proper time that it's supposed to be in.
Right. And even because it's a fairly small part. work to hire actors that look similar to those two in the.
And with current, makeup artists and whatnot, you can do quite a bit practically.
Well, yeah, you can come real close, and it won't hurt anybody. But give it again. This is the kind of thing that's going to get the existing fans on your side, instead of telling them, "Oh, we need to go and take this popular thing and redo all the stuff that made it popular in my vision." Fuck you, movie maker. Don't do that shit. That's
modern audience.
There is no modern audience. I'll tell you why the modern audience thing is. Friday the 13th is an iconic franchise. It's huge. And as someone who grew up on it when it first happened, I'm exactly the guy who's already showing it to the younger generation. There is no new audience.
If the modern audience exists, the Acolyte would have gotten a second season.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to do anything for a modern audience. All you have to do is respect the existing audience.
And respect the lore.
Yes. Well, that's how you do it. That's how you.
Well, yeah, because that's why, like Mitch was saying, like we get actors and actresses that are similar looking enough where just got to do a little bit of cosmetics and a bit closer, and the fans are going to appreciate the fact that you went to that effort to try to recreate what it was.
Well, yeah, and that you're not trying to change the story
and shit all over it.
Yeah, because that's how it always comes out when you try to change the story. It seems not every remake is going to be John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
And this isn't even a remake. This is at least starting off, it's telling the Pamela Voorhees story.
Yeah.
In more detail.
Yeah. It's a story that hasn't been explored yet. And we know that it has to. There are some beats.
Here you don't need to yell.
I'm not yelling.
Okay, you can back up off your mic a little.
I can't because it's in front of my desk. I'm playing the game.
What were you saying out there?
My eardrums.
Alright, what I was saying, again, it's certain story beats that have to be struck.
Yes.
But you can still tell a story of your making without, as long as you hit those story beats.
Right. Because there are gaps in the canon.
Yes.
And all you have to do is fill those gaps, but don't do it in a ham-fisted way. Do it in a way that makes sense. It makes sense that Pamela would have a not immediate descent into madness. It makes sense that marriage to Eli.
So she would be,
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Jason's drowning was the beginning of her life taking a bad turn. Not the only thing that happened. Like I said, marriages have a tendency to not survive the child. So again, this is story stuff that makes sense, and that's the most important thing you can do. But also, it has to make sense within the canon.
Yes.
And if you respect the canon, all the existing fans are on your side.
Yes.
And that alone is going to be a big boost.
Yeah, that will engage with the fans.
Yes. And if you want evidence, just remember three things: Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who. Look where they're at now. Learn from those mistakes.
Look at this as well. We've also had some reboots that actually went more towards the actual lore. Like, I'm breathing a little heavy, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But like, look at the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Basically, like 90% lore inaccurate. I mean,
Right.
like a 2012 Dredd remake that's exponentially better.
Oh God, yeah.
And fucking people loved it. There's still people to this day that are like, we want a fucking sequel. We need Carl Urban in that role again.
Shit.
Yes.
I honestly like
Carl Urban wants to be.
I like the remake of RoboCop.
Yeah, that one did it well enough that it actually went more towards the comics, from what my understanding was, of having the relationship with his family instead of going
Like them being
and
dead.
right, yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, in that whole thing, they had it that he goes robot and the shit. So this one they had it where he still has a relationship, then gets turned more robot, and then breaks it.
There were some elements that bothered me about that remake, but Samuel L. Jackson trying to be what's his name?
What, Tucker Carlson?
Bill O'Reilly.
Oh yeah.
That was heavy-handed and ham-fisted.
That was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was comical.
All you needed was the funny advertisements.
I buy that for $1.
Right. Exactly. That's all you needed to do, and it would have been fucking brilliant.
Shit, have Samuel L. Jackson say that. I buy that for $1.
No, instead they had Rorschach do that.
No, they're too busy trying to make a statement, or make a mockery of something that's real life.
Yeah.
In political terms.
Another thing, keep
childish.
politics out of it. Keep modern politics out of things.
Well, yeah, my rule is activism.
Activism rules entertainment. Yeah.
Well, quite literally, like they did shit well because of having it be, instead of trying to use the freaking robot lead combat robots up and running, it's combat robots are a thing that can't be used in the States.
Right. But if it looks like a guy in a suit, that's a different animal.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to examine the idea of big military contractors trying to break the rules.
And
that's like
man to man.
Or bend the rules.
Yeah. And like quite literally, if they just changed things and had Samuel L. Jackson's character be different, it wouldn't have been so bad.
Right.
See, that was the complete thing. It's like it was comical at some points, but like other points, it's like, oh come on, man.
Again, keep modern politics out of
right.
storytelling.
Just
well,
activism.
That's why I said like they had that whole thing of, oh, should we use combat robots in here? Is that ethical? That's not politics. That's a good freaking question.
Yeah, that's science fiction.
It's science fiction, but again, all right. So,
but instead of having the TV host going through and being like, "Oh, we're gonna have a reporter here. We're gonna bring this to you," just like have it being shown from the thing of like the police force and everything.
Right.
I bring up the example of Star Trek. Star Trek had, lesbianism and stuff like that with Dax, but it was a good story. It still actually used headlines, but it didn't beat you over the head.
Well, that's the funny thing there is that it tackled an ethical question without the ethical question being the lesbian relationship.
Yes.
The lesbian relationship was merely there. And the fact that it was merely there, yeah, that leads you to think about what's right and wrong on that level. Mm-hmm. But the overall thing was about the Trill cultural taboo. Well, yeah, the Trill cultural taboo against getting involved with people from your past thingy.
Shit, technically, Dax broke it twice.
Yes.
Like, technically, she dealt with her blood brothers as blood brothers. You know? God damn it, did I go... It did it again. Motherfucking pus bucket with the son of a little peg.
Oh. What, you get the boot? The audio boot?
Yes. But I was saying that Dax broke it twice. She dealing with her blood brothers.
Yes. Now, here's the secret when it comes to entertainment. Good entertainment doesn't tell you what to think, but it gives you things to think about. And the best way to do that, because let's look at our Friday the 13th prequel concept here.
Okay.
It's giving us a chance to examine that part of the human condition that is the slow slide into madness. Mm-hmm. It gives us a chance to think about that and to wonder about the signs and and to observe in many ways, if it's researched properly, the likely escalations. And maybe someone, it gives people the opportunity to ask, hey, is Jim over here losing his shit, or what's going on there? While you're at work. And Jim's walking around with that big old knife for some reason.
You know what? I can bring back the whole thing of like the movie telling you, as it giving you a thought, and the other telling you what to think. It makes ones that me and T have watched. The 2 Wicker Man movies.
Yes.
The original ends without telling you what happened, leaving you to ponder. Did it work? Didn't it work? The sequel just spells it. Yeah, were they right? Were they wrong? The sequel just they just continue the cycle, and it just always continues.
Yeah. The remake. Yeah.
Just look at the original Halloween. We never find out what happens to Michael in the original Halloween. He's just gone. But you can still hear him breathing with that final montage over every place he's been. You can still hear that he's... it tells you that if it's not him, then something is always there. But we never find out what happens to Michael, and now we get to... Or at least we could have if they had done a proper sequel. But I'm glad even Carpenter sort of doesn't like that sequel, because I don't. I know a lot of people love it. One of the mistakes I think in the horror genre is people want the kills to be super nifty all the time, and that's not what it's about. That's why I have rules for the kills. If it makes sense for the environment they're in, part of the story they're in, then do it. But if you have to stretch the rules of credulity to get to that kill you want to film, then don't, because it's going to come off as bizarre and out of context in the final film. It makes sense that Billy had plastic bags and stuff that he could wrap around someone's face to suffocate them in Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Because that's something people have around the house commonly. It's no big deal.
Yes.
But if he's in the, if he's... Thank you for shutting up when the game talks over what I'm thinking. But if Billy's like living up in that attic, for some reason he's got a weed whacker and a riding lawnmower that he can whip out anytime, it stops making sense. Because when
he has a gun.
Yeah, when it stops making sense, it basically pulls you out of the movie.
Yeah, somehow Billy busts out a freaking ice burger. It's like, okay, that makes sense for the time frame, but not for where he's at.
Right.
Like if the death was in the garage, it'd be understandable.
Exactly. And that's one of the downfalls we face with modern filmmaking, is so many of the studios and directors are following this rule of cool. Going back to RoboCop, when Michael Keaton says, make it more tactical.
Mm-hmm.
That shit. That is exactly what I'm talking about. That's rule of cool shit. And that
you can have the rule of cool as long as it's the rule of cool for the environment. Like, again.
Well, no, if it makes sense, it's going to be awesome if it makes sense. When in the remake, the Friday the 13th remake, when Jason ties that gal up in the sleeping bag and hangs her over a fire to kill her.
Or there was a Friday the 13th where he literally bashes somebody in a sleeping bag against a tree.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's within the context.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, like for the RoboCop one, the put him in black makes sense because you're trying to make, him a man in a cyborg basically look more like the combat robots.
And make him look more intimidating.
It's the line. It's the line. Make it more tactical. Line.
The make it more tactical. I do actually hate that one, but to put him in black makes sense. All
Yes.
their combat robots are in black, so it makes sense. Like, no, we need to make him look as close to the combat robots because it'll ease people into it faster.
Right. And if they had done it in that way, it wouldn't seem silly.
Yeah.
The presentation really does matter.
Yeah, basically like, that whole statement was like great until he's like, needs to be more tactical. It's like when him saying people don't know what they want until they see it. That's a legitimate thing.
Yeah. And God, I would really like to watch this. This is what I hate when I start theory crafting about some of this stuff. I get myself in a position where I want to watch this fucking. But this I want to watch this Crystal Lake series that we've just theory, but it doesn't exist. It's like punching yourself in the dick. That's why I have to stop working. I have to stop expending the energy on existing properties and start working on original ideas.
Yes.
Because I'm hoping one day to be able to. I have a lot of different ideas. I really do. I could take my. I'm not going to go into detail now because Jesus Christ, I talk about it all the goddamn time. Mm-hmm. But my concept for a Halloween franchise that retains the Myers story as an anchor, but is still capable of being an anthology series. Mm-hmm. I could make a whole new franchise out of that. I just change names. I really could, because no one's going to do that. No one's going to put together that. Guys. Oh, right on.
All right.
I'm listening.
No one's going to remake the Halloween film in that way. Because you would have to, because you can't have an 80-year-old Michael Myers as an anchor for a new franchise with 3 trilogies, because that's how many.
Well, the only way you'd be able to do something like that is, again, kind of like I said, George, you have to set it in that specific time frame. It's one of the things that bothered me about the Carrie remake is it was supposed to be more to the book, but it's like, why did you set it in our modern universe? It's like our modern time frame for the time it came out. Like, why did you not put it back in that time frame? It would have been so much better.
Well, yeah, see, and that's it, when I advocate for rebooting Halloween, starting with the original film. I say we should make it with an eye toward not modern audiences, but to address things that exist in modern times. The reason for that is if you were a studio head, would you want to make movies where you have to dress up every location so that it looks like 1978 and 1980 and 1982?
No.
I'm not.
Fuck no.
Yeah, I'm not saying do it for every movie.
No, I know that. I'm talking about this specific thing.
Oh yeah.
But as a studio head, what do you want to do? You want to make 15 period piece movies that's going to cost a bundle, or do you want to defray costs by setting it in the modern era? And I would rather set it in the modern era, defray the costs. So now, starting with the original film, we set it in modern times. So Michael is 21 years old again when he breaks out of the nut house. And we do have to address some things, though. We have to address the existence of cell phones. We have to address the existence of the internet.
Well, okay,
the 24-hour news cycle and all that kind of.
Yeah, and then with that, like telling Pamela's story, it'd be in like the late 80s, early 90s before it began.
Well, yeah, the Pamela story starts in 1958. Well, 1958 is a good starting. That is the year Jason drowned. So yeah, you can start it there, fill in those blanks, and yes, it's going to be a period piece. There's nothing you can do about that. Unless you intend to reboot the entire series. And if you're intending to reboot the entire series, you got to let people know right away.
Yeah.
That is one of the things I could see if like reboot the series a bit to address some of those things, or it'd make more sense for Jason. Or basically, all you're doing is being like, hey, we're just gonna, it is a, so it's like a reboot forward and advance the story. It's like change the time frame, not by fucking 50 years forward, but by going like 20, 30 years forward for the starting point. So that way we put Jason coming back, or not Jason, yeah, Jason coming back closer to modern times. So that way those
Right.
things can be there and they can, you only have the one film you have to set back in there, and then you're
Right.
progressively bringing the films to more modern.
Exactly. Like if we were making a Halloween,
Klingons have made
if
a
we were
tactical
remaking
error.
Halloween now,
We intend to capitalize on it.
the
The only
initial
thing-
scenes would be set 15 years ago. Because that's when Michael Myers is 6 years old before he spends 15 years in Smith's Grove and breaks out at 21.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have to lay those foundations, and those would be sort of period pieces, but there's more you can get away with.
Yeah. So like, the only reason I was criticizing the Carrie one is because when it was originally being made, like, we are going to be closer to the book. The book is going to be our source material, and then it's like, no, the studio stuck their dick in it and basically said we're gonna copy the original movie for the most
We
part,
don't have
but then
much
set it in a
time.
modern
Drop the
time frame.
facility shields and board them.
So it's more relatable to more. Shut up. Relatable to the modern audience. Studios. Oh, I got timed out again. Studios. I usually say this in the form of Hollywood, because I view Hollywood as a kind of. In my observation, Hollywood takes the wrong lessons from success. Oh God, this one again?
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, Hollywood takes the wrong lessons from success. One of the examples I use is for getting another trick for getting the fans on your side. If you're rebooting an existing property, for example, let's say we're all familiar with the Greatest American.
What?
The 80s TV show, The Greatest American.
No.
Okay, the premise there is it's a hijinks ensue kind of show.
Yeah.
But the foundation is a Southern California high school teacher is on a field trip with his class, and his class is the trouble. It's one of those. I forget what those classes are called at the moment. But he's been assigned the troublemaker class, and he's taken them on a field trip. But their bus breaks down, and as he's wandering to get help, he encounters both an FBI agent and a UFO. The aliens on the UFO give him a super suit and the instruction book and tell him he needs to work with this FBI guy. And it throws the both of them. The FBI guy is thrown by the shit as well.
Okay.
He's not an X-Files type guy. He's
So
they get the alien, yeah, pretty much. The aliens basically team them up, and off they go. Right. The thing is, while they're examining the suit, they lose the book in the desert, the instruction book. And he's still got to wear the suit and be a super, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the hijinks ensue, is because he loses the book, the instruction book.
Sure. You come hop on, Jim.
To the surface and then warp out of the
So and the show ran for 3 years. It was pretty popular. Had a theme tune that everyone fucking loved. And if they remade that show today as a movie, I guarantee you they would lose the audience almost, because they would have hired some modern band to play that song for the movie. When what they really need to do is spend the $32 to get the license for the original fucking song. And no, it's not $32. I know it's more. It's
Yeah.
probably 5,000, 10,000, whatever the license fee is.
But get the actual rights for it.
Yeah, get the actual fucking song, and start with the opening credits, going through shit. And early in the film, whether it's during the credits or not, the second that tune starts playing, because its intro is instantly identifiable,
2 missiles just launched.
you're gonna have the whole
Beta 1.
fucking theater on their feet cheering. It's that kind of a scenario. Hollywood will not do that. They will try like hell to get a knockoff version of the song because it's $1.50 cheaper.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
cheaper
will-
to pay an artist to re-record it than it is to give royalties.
Yeah,
And you own the rights to it, so now you can do whatever.
and
you
it's
want.
just it's just horseshit that they do that kind of stuff, because it's a textbook example of a lost opportunity.
Gamma 1 is being targeted by 2 more missiles.
You know, pay attention to the existing Friday the 13th canon and do a period piece, and you're going to have everyone on your fucking side.
Another missile.
And it doesn't matter there if Jason gets too old to be Jason, because Jason is undying. So you can keep all that stuff from 1958 because it is a period piece. Now, since Jason won't die, all that backstory can be a period piece, and if you tell it in that context, everyone is on your fucking side.
Beta corridor is another
Yeah.
inbound missile.
Tell it in that context and respect the canon. Everyone's on your fucking side. And you're going to have a wild fucking success on your hands. Hollywood will never do that.
They're apparently allergic to success.
In many ways, it seems like that, yeah.
I had to pop in for that reason. I did give you heads up here, but you weren't.
I said you could pop in
Hey,
on
Jen.
the side.
Oh, I just didn't hear that. I didn't want to interrupt you, Mitch.
Oh, no worries.
So 2 things I heard tonight that were good news. I don't doubt you talked about the first one, but I was kind of away for that part of it. So the Occulte is not getting a second season, which is good. I'm glad to see them fail.
Acolyte.
Sorry, I'm never gonna say it right, and I don't care. You know, it was a crap show anyway, so if I say it wrong, it's like kind of adding justice to it anyway.
Yeah,
How did you
lesbian.
say it?
Lesbian space witches.
Occulte? Yeah,
One more
Lesbian
time.
space witches.
The occult, what?
Occulte?
Oh,
Something
okay.
like that. I know I'm not pronouncing it right, but
That's fine.
it's
The
still,
anecdote.
It wasn't a really good representation of Star Wars. Even I can tell. I know I haven't watched a full episode, but the little clips I was seeing was like, ooh, okay. The other thing that I heard tonight that was good news, and I know it's a game, but the point still remains. I saw the Black Wukong gang sell over almost 1 million copies today.
Oh,
And I'm
cool.
at-
I knew
I
it
am-
was a million copies.
And I hope they do. I hope they do even more. I do, because I'm so tired of these people who have a lack of creativity, don't know how to write, and are fucking a bunch of Marxist assholes. I don't want them involved in anything.
No.
And
It gets
and that
worse.
franchise is coming from China.
It gets worse, Jared. This is Chinese mythology.
Yeah.
This is their mythology. The people that are creating the game, their mythology, and Sweet Baby was trying to tell them how to make a game about their mythology, shit they grew up doing, and how to make it.
It's basically her thing was they didn't insert enough diversity, and therefore there weren't enough females. And I'm like, lady, I'm sorry, but not in every story. You don't have women in every story. It just sometimes that happens. And if you were to actually give them time, because this is probably just a chapter in the story that they're talking about, if you actually gave them time, eventually they could lead you to the story that has a female character. But this one isn't it.
It was like, in that entire book, it's like, honestly, about maybe 4 women in it.
Sometimes that happens.
Well,
Sometimes
the
that
thing-
happens.
The thing that always annoys me with that is it's like, okay, instead of having to interject these characters into this, why aren't you supporting people that create a game to where
The security
so
Klingon
women need
transport
characters
vessels
instead of
leaving
being
the
like,
zone
no,
of
we have to take
operation
this one
command.
that doesn't have it because it's historical in that situation, the way the folklore goes, and change it and bastardize it.
All right, so there is you stand in China. There is a book called The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. There are very few named women in that book. Like in the named women, they don't fight. Like it is a war story about men fighting. Like,
Not surprising.
it was written in like 1600 about events in 200.
Back to our starting area.
Like you will not find a lot of women doing shit in that goddamn book. Like so, I would love to see them come at somebody for not putting enough women in a game, in a game based on the Three Kingdoms. That shit would be hilarious.
There was a game called Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Yeah, it's
But it was
it's a strategy game.
Yeah.
But there are very few females that take active. Like there's only maybe 2 females that actually fight. You know what I mean? Go to war. And both of them are savages.
The other thing they have to understand is there's a really good chance that even if they wanted to go for a really pro-female character, they're going to struggle with that one. Because it's not that China doesn't have that in their history. They do. They actually do have some female leaders that were actually kind of scary too. But that's kind of the thing with politics in other countries. Sometimes they don't want to talk about a story. And China is one of those places where if they don't want to talk about it, you're not going to talk about it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of stories where there even historical women who led like the empire that were monsters.
Yes.
Like one chick killed her own kid for blaming the concept
Yeah.
Her own child.
Yeah. They even said that, like, yes, she was a tyrant, but, like, as a leader, she did a fairly good job as far as, like, the economic side of it. But that's just kind of how it is. Like, the leaders that you want are going to be the hardest ones to tell stories about because some of them are kind of monsters.
Tractor it back to our starting area.
And China doesn't want to talk about it. At the end of the day, if they don't want to talk about it, you're not going to talk about it. That's how China is.
Pretty much. Like the man
Okay,
said,
you're
"Don't trust
talking about
China,
romance
China's
of the
asshole."
Also, I kept putting it out there, and here's the thing that they also don't understand about diversifying. The stuff that they did to Yasuke and the Assassin's Creed game, in no way, shape, and form did China want anything to do with that. Because all they had to do was insert a bunch of Japanese characters into that game, and they would have started riots in China. Because they don't understand China.
That's not China. Japan.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they had taken Japanese characters and inserted the Wukong, which is the kind of retarded shit they would do, because the female character is Korean. They don't know Asian people from Asian people, but you know, I'm a racist for not knowing that kind of shit. But if you were to insert a Japanese character into the Wukong game, they would have started riots in China.
Or if you insert a black character and like, if you make the Monkey King black, you know.
He's also an Asian character, but this is one of those things that I really, really sincerely hate about them. Because when they're talking about white, a lot of the times they're talking about fur. The fur of the monkey was white because they have monkeys with white fur.
Yeah.
So sorry.
I'm not.
I'm not either, but you know, sarcasm is...
Right.
I mean, this is like the whole shit of when they look at characters, you know, like, you know, for anime, they're like, this character was black, they're not white. They're like, dude, they're not black or white, they're fucking Japanese, you retard.
Yes. Oh, know what I hate above all else? They're coded something. No, they're not coded.
Oh god, shit is so dumb.
If the creator wanted the character to be X, Y, or Z, they would make them X, Y, or Z.
Exactly.
Oh, dude, my favorite for that is when characters, because they're slightly dark skinned, they're like, this is a black character. It's like, dude, as someone who has been to Japan, there is some dark skinned Asians, my man.
There are.
I hate the concept that because of phenotype you are black, and I know what it is. It's a homogram. You can be skin color wise a black person, but you're not black. You're not American of African descent.
Ready a new inbound contact.
You're not part of the culture. What are you gonna say, old man?
I was gonna say, there are certain characters in anime that are black. Namely Bob from Tenjo Tenge.
Yeah, but he still half Japanese. His father was an American black man. Yeah, but he is Japanese.
And then you got who is of Latin descent, but he's also Japanese.
It's also that, and no, I'm not remembering names of anime the way that you guys do, but yes, I do remember depictions of clearly black characters. If they were making fun of them, it was usually because they were a villain. And I'm sorry, I don't feel bad if they're making fun of a villain. And I get they're like, oh god, oh no, they're making fun. Well, okay, but they have some black characters that aren't villains. They do.
Yeah, they did that same thing with Halloween Kills, when Michael Myers kills a gay couple. It's like, the movie's anti-gay, but no, it's not.
Yeah, they did the same thing. That's the sequel to It of the new one. We're like, how could It kill a gay person? It's like, because he doesn't care. He's fucking evil.
Yes.
Right. Michael doesn't care that they're gay. They're in his house, for fuck's sake. That's what he cares about.
Yes.
And by the way, he's a villain. You expect a villain to go around and be fucking politically correct? You're an idiot.
Oh,
well, gay people use weapons to stab each other with. He uses real swords.
Nice.
It's kind of like what they did with Chucky, in the sense that, like, well, Chucky is just secretly going to be on my side, and I'm like, well, that's your version of Chucky. This is fan fiction now, because Chucky was a serial killer. He got off on killing people. That's why he was evil.
Was it Charles Lee Ray?
Yeah.
Like, so all of a sudden he's your best buddy because you're the kid that he hangs out with? Like, no.
Well, that's why it makes more sense of these different villains still killing people. People of the Lebictus community, because then it's actually inclusive. There's no judgment of who he kills. You're in their path. Therefore, you will be removed from the path.
But some people want special rights.
It's like the only thing I would have seen acceptable from that scenario is the doll is using the kid so that he could kill more people. Like, I could see that. Like, I'm being nice to you, kid, because you're a shield while I get away with doing murder.
Right.
You
know what I want to see now?
Active excuse.
Now I want to see a horror film where that features a gay couple in the co-lead roles. But one of the gays in that couple is like, says to the other one, do you ever not be an activist? Can't we just enjoy one fucking thing without you turning it into an issue?
A hill to die on.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would. That's another movie I'd like to see. I want to where it's the one character, they're coming at me because they're coming after us because we're gay. The other one's like, no, he's not. Stop it. Or he's like, you wanted the hill to die on? Well, here you go, because you're about to die. I hope you're fucking happy.
You know what?
Hold on. Hold on to what you say. It's like, kind of have the crazy chick thing to where the one gay guy looks at another gay guy. It's like, you are not pretty enough or good enough in bed to deal with this shit. You're on your own.
Yeah.
No.
That would be funny.
I would love to see the dressing
It was
down.
a perfect person to play that character. William Dafoe.
You know what? I would love to see the dressing down of the insufferable female character who is the staunch feminist. And I don't need to. It's the man that's been the grizzled veteran who's been through all this shit before and he's trying to keep people alive. I don't need you. I know what to do on my own. And she runs off and gets killed.
Oh yeah, see that in the context of a horror film, I always wanted to have the it wouldn't necessarily be the girl power character, but it would be the woman that never shuts up and never stops answering questions, and has no idea how to control the volume of the voice. So we're hiding from a Michael or a Jason, and why is he after us? Why does he keep on killing everybody? He just won't fucking shut up.
Why do I?
So everyone else just throws her out into the open as a distraction, so the killer can get hurt, they can get away.
I was gonna say, if we're gonna do the feminist character, you gotta have her like Michael or Jason, and let Jason stand there for a little bit while they're talking, and then be like, "See, I told you all they have to," and that's when like the knife goes through their head.
Yep.
No, it should go through a gut.
But see, I wouldn't make it a feminist or anything like that. That's inserting activism into your movie, even if it's a joke out.
No, I'm just saying like that archetype of the woman who shut up and everything. Yeah. She thinks she knows better than everybody. She's not necessarily like, oh, men are dumb and everything. She's like, no, I know how to get through this situation. All this person needs is a firm hand. Like, she's the same one, but like, you shouldn't discipline. Like, if you spank your children, you're that's automatically abuse, this and that.
Okay, all right.
That archetype, not into that.
The way you explained her, I envision she's like the head of the PTA, and she's like a wine mom who isn't a wine mom, but somehow she's
a fucking Karen.
She's a Karen.
Basically, yeah.
And
basically,
for Mitch's,
she's an HOA wet drink.
Jewish woman. It's a Jewish woman that's asking all the questions.
Well, my thought is more like a teenage girl who just hasn't learned that sometimes you do gotta shut up. She's that vacuous cell phone staring at fucking.
Damn, I can't get a signal here. I can't call my dad. He knows what to do.
Yeah, I mean, she'd be all over that kind of shit while everyone else is trying to actually survive.
I'm only okay with this if you make her boyfriend somebody who looks like a Harry Sizen, and he dies too.
Okay.
Oh,
that's the gay couple. If we're gonna do the Harry Sizen thing, that's the gay couple.
No, that's no. It's the closet gay. He's the closet gay guy. You can clearly tell because he's eyeing up his friend. He clutches his friend before he clutches his girlfriend when he's scared. You know.
Nah, I'm not even letting him be the closeted. It's just, nah, man, you gay. Not the little hidden thing about it. Just overtly, yeah, you gay.
I see.
But then you have the freaking the chick as well. You know, be like, this is gonna get me so many followers on Instagram. Like, why isn't my cell phone working?
So
that kind of thing. Basically, yeah.
Yeah, it would hit like the millennial Gen Z thing.
But you know, at the same time, I mean, right now I'm Tyr knows this already. I don't want to go into details about too much stuff though. I'm working on a movie treat, which is the story. A movie treatment is where you write down the foundation of the story, basically, without getting into actual scripting. And I'm working on one right now that's an original concept. And when Tyr was along for the ride, as it were, on Discord, I was working on it. And at some point I noticed that I'm writing something where no one's really an asshole. It is a horror film, and there is conflict and stuff, but no one is so inhuman that you hate them. Even the people who you might call the villain, they are likable in some way.
Oh, so you're kind of hitting that role to where even as well, like the people are trying to do the right things and it's still just not going right for them?
In a manner of speaking, yeah.
Not always.
I'm not in.
No, they have their goals and they have the things that they think they need to do to extricate themselves from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But no one, and it's two groups that come into but no one's really an ass. Or they are actually, but they're not such an asshole that you can't relate to them.
They're not an unbearable asshole.
Right.
You still have a likability. Like, you know, all right, I can see this guy's point of view.
Right. And the other funny part is that suddenly I noticed I'm writing a movie treatment with no romantic subplot. Even though I've got a good mix of male and female characters, there's not going to be a romantic subplot. No, there really doesn't. That's the whole thing. You know, there's not going to be someone pining for somebody else or anything like that. It's just not going to be there.
No, like if you're going to have any romantic subplot type thing, and I'm using that very, very loosely, be like you have a couple like characters that are already in a couple.
Yeah.
So it's pre-established going into it that they're already in a relationship instead of the whole like, oh, are we? Aren't we? Ooh.
Yeah, there's you know, we just started dating. Oh, she likes him, but he likes us. No, none of that shit.
Yeah.
And so far, the story is progressing quite nicely without it. Which I think is great because there are certain kinds of films where I think a romantic is a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now if I get in, I'm in the first draft stage of this thing, so and I'm like, okay, I don't think this will have proper running time to be a feature-length film. What can I add to it? Will I add a romantic subplot? No. Absolutely not. But, you know, the kind of story it is, it allows for other stuff that's more situation relevant that can be added to it, I think. I'll know when I get to the end. But, you know, most films are 3 acts. And in writing this thing, somewhere in Act 2 at the moment. So we'll see how it turns out. You know, it's not this isn't something that's going to make me any money. Practice, right? I just want to practice it so that I can maybe get to a stage at some point where I can make it. That's all it is, you know. But I find it fascinating that without intending to, I accomplished those 2 things.
Yes.
And God, I so want to tell the story up to this point, but I know that I can't. But I have a female character, the main, who's going to wind up being the main character, I suppose,
Mm-hmm.
is a female character. She knows her shit about a certain thing, but she's not a girl boss.
Oh, yes.
And she's not unlikable, and she doesn't degrade men. You know, it's not that kind of thing. She's going to be badass is too badass would be an overstatement. She's going to be really good at this one particular thing. Yeah, she's going to be capable. That's a good way to put it.
You know,
and likable and
not insufferable.
Yeah. My one of the things I like to do when I come up with a concept. I like to hit certain woke points without the story being a woke story or the characters being a woke character.
I mean, a female that is capable isn't unbelievable.
No, it's just that she's capable because of the context of her upbringing.
Yes.
So it makes sense. Going back to that again, you need this shit to make sense.
Like you can be capable, and you can be capable without denigrating those around you. You can have like great example, Ellen Ripley.
Yes.
Ray. Oh God, Ray.
Yeah, Ray in the sequel trilogy. Total Mary Sue. She earned nothing.
Yes.
They just made her. They just made her a badass because that's her
Cool
story.
powers.
She's a badass, and we could just use the Force to say she's a badass, and it that way. You got to train that shit.
Yes, there's no way in hell she should have been able to block a Jedi, a trained Sith, using his Force probe. No way in
Right.
fucking hell. And just because of her lineage, it doesn't matter. That doesn't denote your power in the Force.
No. I mean, they could have left Anakin to just sort of pull a guesses, right? And he never would have been all that powerful in the Force.
Yeah.
Even with that high midichlorian count.
Yeah. I mean, it was because he was the chosen one that it really only mattered with him. And even then, it was only because, again, he was the chosen one.
Yeah, and being the chosen one, he still had to work.
Yeah.
I mean, from childhood to adulthood, he had to work at it.
Yes. Hell, shit. If they'd have never found him, he'd have still been some dirt farmer, still a slave.
Yes. He'd still be working for Watto, fucking doing tune-ups on hover cars.
Yes. Doing part races. So, again, he had to be trained. He didn't come in knowing everything he knew. But once he did know what he knew he could do more.
Right. The education he got in the Force from the Jedi opened further doors.
Yes.
To learn more about the Force and how to be a Jedi, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And,
just had that shit instantly.
Yeah, she just downloaded it from the brain net or something.
Yeah.
And like I said, this female character I'm writing, she's going to be I think she's going to be beloved in many ways.
Okay.
Because she does the job that the wokoids.
You were trying to say something, James? Because if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Oh, I was waiting on Mitch to finish.
Oh, but go ahead. She's going to do the job the wokoids fail to do every time. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, if Anakin, if we really thought long and hard about it, do you think Anakin would rather be a slave mechanic than being a walking burnt gimp with an asthma problem?
I still think he would have rather have been the burnt gimp, because look at his. All right, given his life, he was able to see other worlds. He became a commander and a general, a Jedi a Jedi Knight. He trained Ahsoka. He fell in love and found the love of his life and had 2 children. Even with that, even if his life did turn out bad, he probably would accept, hey, if this was going to end, if I was going to do this again, I'd do it again.
The thing is, we never really saw even a slow into the jealousy and rage he felt at Obi. It was just suddenly there.
Yeah, that's one of the things that never made sense in that. Like, again, he trusted Obi-Wan, and the Jedi could have neutralized Anakin as a fucking threat. Oh, Anakin, look, we know that you're not a master. You already trained Ahsoka, and she was close to being a knight. Just wait your time.
Yeah, it's weird that he goes from me and Obi-Wan are great friends to Obi-Wan's jealous of my power.
Well,
it happened in Attack of the Clones somewhere. At some point, Anakin. Go on, Jen. Maybe you can tell. Can you see something I don't?
If it's with my memories, my understanding is there were a lot of scenes in, and I don't remember if it was number 2 or number 3, where Anakin's kind of left with Palpatine for quite a number of days, like he's almost kind of ditched there, and it's kind of implied that while he's there, Palpatine, it's not just the words that he's using, he's also kind of like, I don't know. Like if it's something they can project or something, or if he
Yeah.
just projects ideas into
can.
your head.
But you know what gets me about that anyway? So, all right, the Clone Wars cartoon is supposed to be canon as well, but it does not fit. He's already learned most of the lessons that would make him a master by the time the third movie rolls around. He should have been a master anyway. He's fought in the war.
Yes.
He's proven that he's loyal. He saved them their lives countless times. So May should have trusted him.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, going back to the one thing I was trying to say, I can't remember what the horror movie's called, but where like it's a more of a hoity-toity people that are like in a house for a dinner, and then they have like the home invasion, but the one guy's girlfriend starts basically taking out people because she was raised.
I know the movie you're talking about, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
It's
Are you
called.
talking about
then-
The Strangers?
No, it's not The Strangers.
No, this is a family dinner party. She's
Yeah.
like,
Because like to ruin the story, basically you find out the two brothers paid these guys to kill their parents so that way they could get their inheritance early.
right.
So it's killing them, killing anyone else in the family and whatnot. And he's like, I'll pay. Like depending on which one you go with, like it was actually supposed to end with her dying, not by any of them, but being capped by a cop.
Okay.
Yeah, because of her fighting back, she has the upper hand. So the cop doesn't know when he shows up and shoots her.
Right.
But yeah, like they bring up, it's like the reason why she can do all this stuff is because she was raised to be self-reliant, but she's not belittling other people for that.
Right. But I think she still did some, if I remember correctly, it's been a while. But if I remember
mostly know
correctly,
of
she
the movie. I
did
don't
still
know
did some
everything
stuff that's like you're a 120-pound woman, you can do that to a 200-pound man.
Like at least it seemed like they went for the most part for trying the whole thing of like, oh, we're gonna have her like surprise those, get the upper hand, and use her surroundings. Which like, okay, cool, I'm down with that.
Yeah. But see, yeah, if what she's doing is based on a surprise attack, I'm behind it completely.
Yeah.
That works because that's the very nature of a surprise attack.
They didn't
But
see it
when they have the women who are what's not overpowered, but that's really what it is, who are easily overpowered by just an average guy, and they can somehow overpower him for some reason.
All right.
That pulls me out of the movie.
I bring this up because I bring this up because it's a good example. Now I'm pretty sure y'all never heard of this anime. It's a really old, obscure anime. It's called The Shadow Skills. In The Shadow Skills,
I know this anime.
You know that anime, so you know
Yeah.
that there were the front skills and the shadow skills. The front skills were all the style the men used because it relied on physical power and strength. The shadow skills relies on kicks because the women weren't as strong, but they had better balance and gravity. So they kicked a lot. They could take down most people with their kicks.
Yeah, because like she's teaching a
Her
guy
brother.
about it. And, her brother. Like I didn't see all of it. I only got to see a little bit of that whole thing. But I remember when they like faced off and like because of the way they erased that whole thing, like they cut their freaking thumb and whatnot, and then like do a mark on the side of their face.
Yeah, but I bring that up. It played that it recognized that these women weren't strong physically, but they were agile.
Yeah,
Right.
And
that's like when
that's
you look
how
at actual martial arts and that whole thing.
Yeah, and that's how
whenever it comes
women
to
should
the
fight.
competitions, the technical stuff is always judged by women because they tend to be extremely technical.
Yeah, but I say that's how if you're gonna do where the woman is overpowering the male, it should be that she's using her speed to not her strength to mess with him. She knows that if he grabs her, she's fucked. But she's moving around. She's hitting him. She's aiming for his legs or trying to incapacitate him instead of taking on physically.
You ever seen a movie called By the Sword?
No.
It's F. Murray Abraham, Eric Roberts, Mia Sara. It's about fencing.
Okay.
And a fencing school. And there's a group of beginners. Beginner students. Not really beginners, but they're the lower echelon. students, and they're being trained by a guy who you are meant to underestimate.
Okay.
But you learn over through the movie that you shouldn't. There comes a point where they're having a contest within their school to see who's going to go to the nationals, right? Okay. And this one lower echelon girl student is going up against the cream of the crop badass dude.
Mm-hmm.
And the her Yoda character, her Miyagi, points out to her that says, "You're smaller than he is. Use it." So as a result, when they get up and get into fencing range and they start going at it, and it's all thrust and parry and block,
mm-hmm.
she makes herself even a little bit smaller and lunges with a jab and nails him because she was fighting smart.
Yes.
She wasn't trying to overpower him. She was using what would ordinarily be a weakness and turning it into a strength.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get to see female characters do that kind of thing, it's gonna be better for everyone. That's why this character I'm writing is very much like that. There's a situation in life, okay? I'm gonna try to lay this out in broad terms so you understand what I'm talking about. There are groups of people who are able to deal with situations when they are prepared for them. And one of the guys in this story is that guy. He can handle stuff, but his method of handling things is being prepared to the point where he doesn't have to improvise. Mm-hmm. Conversely, she was raised and went out with her father in situations where she had to improvise and learn how to improvise and learn how to work with what she had on hand. Growing up with her father and his teaching, she became really good at it. And those skills are going to play into, for both of them, they're not going to be in conflict with each other to say, oh, she's better than he is because she can do this without being prepared for it. It's not like that. They're actually going to complement each other. So that, she's good at this angle, he's good at this angle, but when they come together, holy shit, they're going to be the driving force for survival here.
Okay.
And I think that's a better way to do it because, like I say, you don't have to shit on a character. You don't have to shit on one character to make another character. And not every character needs to be a badass. Not, you don't need the character to be the wimp, the jock, the stoner. You don't need that shit. The nerd. Mm-hmm. You don't need that shit. Just write real fucking people. Eric
sounds like
Murdoch. What's that?
Sounds like the A-Team without Murdoch.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna go down that road to where you're going into like a sports thing like that, like we can look at wrestling. There's like 3 types of wrestlers. I can't remember one of them. We're talking like not pro wrestling, but like actual wrestling. There's a tactician, or there's someone who knows the technicalities of it. A technician. There's someone who can muscle it, and there's the one who can do both.
Right.
And the one who can do both is the worst person to go up against.
Oh yeah.
Because they're versatile.
Yeah, because they know everything that they can do, and they can do it to you.
Yes. I'm going to jump out of the game tier, but I'm not leaving the stream.
Okay. Going back to the whole shadow skill thing, I'm not sure if Rodden said it or not because I'm having a hard time hearing him. But the women used the shadow skills, right?
Because they were slaves and they had their hands bound. Yes.
Exactly. That's why most of those were short punches. But you do also realize that most martial arts stemmed from the rural country or rural farmers and all that taking up arms against the feudal lord.
Oh yeah.
That's why most of them are shaped like farm tools.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because they had to use what they had on hand.
Yes.
Yeah. So
they're not shaped like slaves. Wait a minute. Sorry. I had to change there.
yeah, I don't want them to be slaves.
But again, it was. I just like when a 60-pound a woman that is literally 100 pounds soaking wet takes down a behemoth.
Yeah.
You know, and she does it, and she does it by fighting instead of again using her natural abilities, her speed to gain victory.
Well, yeah. See, I'd be fine if it was a sneak attack with a 2x4 to the back of the head.
Yeah.
Stuff that makes sense. I'd be fine that. But when it comes to like hand to hand with no weapons of any kind, it starts to look silly.
Yeah, it breaks.
Yeah, it breaks you out of the movie. Yeah.
Yep.
It kills the verisimilitude.
Okay, one of the best fight scenes that I've ever seen in cinema, and it's an underrated movie series. It's a B movie series. Had Lorenzo Lamas in it. Snake Eater.
Dallas was not a good movie.
Snake Eater 2, to be exact. It's the second one. He goes into this biker bar looking for some reason or another. I'm not going to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's confronted by a guy that's basically the size of the guy that plays Reacher in the Netflix series.
Mm-hmm.
And Lorenzo Lamas gets into the fight with this behemoth. And top that off, the guy's wearing body armor because he, quote unquote, likes to fight. So you get someone that's athletic build that's probably about 5'10". So he's outclassed by about 1.5 feet and outweighed by about 250. So, anywho, he ends up having to use knives to stab him in his feet where there's no armor and then just start waylaying on him. So he can't go nowhere.
Again, clever use of tactics. It is brains over bronze. An intelligent fighter can defeat. You don't have to be stronger than a person. You could be an intelligent fighter. Again, somebody using quick attacks, or incapacitation attacks, aiming for your feet, aiming for your legs. Once you're down on your knees, you can't react fast enough, and then they they smack your ass with a goddamn crowbar or something.
Yeah. Back in, they had a gaming magazine. I can't remember which. It wasn't Nintendo Power. It was one of the other ones. But it was, I want to say Gamer Pro or Game Pro. Mm-hmm. But there was an ad, and then it showed a ninja who had his feet bound. And on the binding, it said, "The 4th degree black belt confronts you, and you remind him of a 2x4."
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what game it was for or what accessory, but it was still hilarious.
Yes.
Was it for Alabama Man?
No, Florida Man.
Mine's a South Park reference.
Florida Man's the hero we don't deserve. But
the funny part is like the Florida Man thing is actually not as big as everyone thinks it is. Do you know the only reason why everyone brings up, oh, Florida Man this, oh, Florida Man that?
It's because of the newspaper.
It's because Florida has a law that all of these things that happen, they have to be documented on the news. That's the reason why.
Really?
Like, yeah, one of my coworkers back in the military, because he's from Florida, he goes, dude, I've had it like 3 different times that my buddies would go out, or it's like that'd be a weekend or whatnot, and I would tell my friends because like I had to work, so I'm like, hey, you need a ride because I know you're going to the bar. Let me know. And then on that fucking Monday, I see that the son of a bitch got a DUI. And I'm like, dude, I fucking told you to call me.
Florida man gets DWI.
But it's that whole thing that because any crime that happens, it has to be brought up. So that's why it always sounds crazy because most other states aren't freaking doing that.
So basically what you're saying is Florida man is everywhere. He's just not Florida man everywhere.
Well, see, in Texas,
everyone thinks Florida man is a specific thing, not realizing that it's just that the crimes and it's like weird crimes and whatnot that are done aren't being talked about in their own state unless you're in that area.
I mean, Ohio man does a lot of shit too. That's Florida man's cousin.
Oh yes.
well, you know, in Texas, Florida man has a motto. It's called "Hold my beer." Hey, watch this.
Hold my beer is both the rallying cry and the final, final words.
I've done this 100 times before, and that never happened.
Like when you hear somebody say "hold my beer," it's either going to be epically funny, epically terrifying, or epically both.
Right.
Or it's going to be just amazing as shit.
Yeah, true. Yeah. All right, guys. It is 1:00, and I have to get to work tomorrow. Sadly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, quit whining.
So I'm going to shut down the zoo. Last words, thoughts, whatever.
Someone else go first.
For those of you who are of legal age to drink and can buy firearms, I highly recommend not perusing Gunbroker after you've been a little bit inebriated. You will bid on things you probably shouldn't have.
Next
Shop
person?
smart. Shop S-smart.
Remember, the speed of the government when you're waiting on them is between now and the end of the world. However, when you owe them, they want it yesterday.
Okay.
But they can't remember what happened like 5 minutes ago. Can we use that in our favor?
No, it's if they make a mistake, it's a whoopsie doodle. It'll be okay. We'll get it fixed someday. There's no need to remind us every 16 years.
You're still waiting on that return. We mailed it out eventually.
But if you make a mistake, right to jail.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on my income tax return.
When you make a mistake, it's tax fraud. When they make a mistake, it's okay.
Is it my turn now? Oh, okay. People say the road to hell is paved with good intention. Why? Do they think there's a shortage of bad intentions?
I guess I'll end with this. All the world's a stage, and right now, I'm trying to get the fuck off of it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for coming out. Thank you guys for being here with me, doing this. We will be back Monday night, next Monday, for, again, Millions in Space. Next up is Wednesday with the Wednesday show for Hammer and Genty Maxi and Tybot. Then Thursday is Johnny Hellcat time, and then Sanguine, and then Harry's channel and Kefki. So be sure to check out their channels, their episodes. And
Oh,
with
yeah.
that, the zoo is closed. Have a good night, all.
Have a good night.
Well,
And-
now,
Gotta be gone.